Hey Stackers, bet you didn't think you'd hear my voice today, did you? Well, surprise, we have a special episode of the Stacking Benjamin Show today, and this will be the live presentation from early this week of the Plutus Award finalists. The Plutus Awards are the finest financial writing, videos, and of course, podcasting. We're super excited that we get to share this with everybody. The first half of the show will be the presentation. The second half of the show will be a roundtable chat about a few of the categories so you can hear what we think about all of the different finalists. You're going to find a lot of great new things to read, watch, and listen to on today's show, as you do every year if you've heard this before. Okay, the first half of this is going to be the audio from the presentation, so you are going to hear some uneven audio. Don't worry though. That's just because of the fact that we are live. I think you'll be okay, but there's going to be some echo, some audio hiccups, because some people are wearing headphones, other people aren't, but we're super excited anyway to bring it to you. So here we go. This is the Plutus Award finalists. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a special presentation of the Stacking Benjamin Show. I am Joe Saul-Sehy, Average Joe Money on Twitter, and this is going to be a lot of fun, one of my favorite moments the entire year. And that is the presentation of the finalist for the Plutus Awards, brought to you by Capital Group. And to help me, I have two very special people. Number one, the creator of the Plutus Awards, the head of the Plutus Foundation, my good friend Harlan Landes. How are you, man?
I'm great. How you doing, Joe? Thanks for having me here.
Well, I'm so excited. Like everybody who is watching us live, we're on a few different channels with people watching live. Everybody wants to know who is going to be a finalist for this year's award show. And let's bring on the woman who, behind the scenes, I think Harlan and I and everybody kind of calls the puppet master. Would you agree with that, Harlan?
Oh yeah. Anything, any questions you have about who's selected, go right to Miranda with those.
Oh dear God. No, I'm blaming the panel. The panel. This is all the panel. They picked these folks. It's all on them.
Yeah, and that voice you're hearing is Miranda Marquit, my friend who we used to podcast together so much, Miranda, and I miss those days, and now we get to do it here again. But let's start with you, Harlan, for people that are unfamiliar with the Plutus Awards that are listening to this for the first time. Let's talk about the history of the Plutus Awards and how they came about.
Sure. Well, the Plutus Awards started 11 years ago, and the whole purpose of that was to bring more attention to the community of independent financial bloggers and to celebrate all the great things that they were putting out into the world, all the great content that is out there, great articles. Of course, we expanded that pretty quickly to include podcasts and videos. And this way, we were able to give great recommendations to the world about what the best content in the world is for personal finances, coming from independent sources and independent voices. So this goes beyond your money column in your, whatever the national paper is or your local paper. That's all great stuff as well. We wanted to bring more attention to people who had independent voices, who were writing from their own experiences, and who had a lot of great insight to share, all about managing your money, investing, retirement, whatever it happens to be.
This started off, Harlan, as really blogger awards, and over the years, you've seen it change a lot. Talk about how it's changed over time.
Well, what we try to do is we try to represent the community of all these creators who put together financial content, and media changes over time. More people get into podcasts. Video is huge now. We want to make sure that we're really bringing attention to some of the best, regardless of what media they use to do it.
And Miranda, speaking of that, this particular year, the 11th annual awards, not only do we have the best host ever, by the way, just want to bring a little bit of attention to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah. Phenomenal stuff right there. Phenomenal stuff.
If I don't say so myself, that guy's great. Just an inspired pick. But Miranda, we have a bunch of new categories this year. Let's talk about how the categories have changed.
Well, one of the most interesting things that the panel did this year, and one of the things I love about having a panel of community members helping with the Plutus Awards, is they come up with new and creative ways to do the thing. And so one of the interesting things they did this year was, instead of dividing everything out into video, podcast, all of these new categories, we've actually said, okay, we're going to have content creators, and we've kind of consolidated, because so many creators have a blog plus a podcast, or a blog plus really great social media, or a blog plus video, or some of them just make amazing content and just do video and podcast. So there's a lot of really different and interesting ways our content creators do the thing. And so that's one of the biggest changes this year, and one of the things that people on our panel suggested. The other thing is, we've got new categories. We're always changing. We're always adding new categories. We're doing new things. Some of the interesting new categories we actually have a category that focuses on current events. We have a new category focusing on children's financial literacy. So we're excited about having that in there. We've added the idea of expat to our international category, which is interesting, and I'm super excited about. And we've added, we've got the new video channel, and we've added video channel of the year. We've added the big guys, right? The big folks. We've added a new, thing. Like, I keep saying thing because it really is. And it's been a crazy weekend. And as we've tallied up, our panelist votes for narrowing down to the finalists. Our panelists are going to be, over the next few days, evaluating these finalists, and we'll be getting winners, and it's super exciting.
It's interesting, Harlan, as Miranda's talking, I'm just thinking about the fact that over the years, it's become less about the channel, right? I mean, this latest change where now it's video, doesn't matter if you're video, audio, if you're the written word, it's more about the message and less about the tool that you're using to get there.
Yeah, and there are so many tools too, and it's constantly changing. We can't, the best way to represent everyone is really to have the categories aligned as they are now, and then we've actually in some categories increased the number of finalists. That way we can spread things out over podcasts and blogs and video channels. It makes for a much more complete picture of the community, and also keeps the award ceremony moving along quickly, especially when we have 30 or so categories.
Yeah, exactly, Miranda. How many categories do we have?
We have 30 this year.
Bam. Okay.
Yeah, not all of them are. So we have things. One of the categories we have is the Plutus Foundation Service Award, which is not something that we normally have the panel vote on. So that's a little bit different. We have the Lifetime Achievement. The panel is voting on that, but that's not going to be something we're going to go through on this show. So there's things like that. But yes, in the end, when we present our ceremony, it's going to include 30 categories.
All right, and let's get started. I'm so excited, everyone. These are the finalists for the 11th Annual Plutus Awards presented by Capital Group, except for the three big best of categories. We will do these in alphabetical order. Let's start off, Miranda. Let's go ladies first. Best Canadian Finance Content.
So we have Explore FI Canada, Jessica Morehouse, Mixed Up Money, Modern Family, and Talkan.
Best Content Series, Harlan.
Yeah, so this category is, about a specific topic that's covered over multiple installments. And we've got Ask Me Money Things from Investing Latina, Fire Community Guest Interview from Modern Family or Family, Money on the Table from Rich and Regular, Slow FI interview series from the Fioneers, the Safe Withdrawal Rate series from Early Retirement Now.
Lots of financial independence topics, especially I noticed in that one. Next up, best collaborative project or event, Miranda.
We've got Sense Positive, Economy, Elevate, Side Gig Con, and Statement Event.
Best current events content related to personal finance. Harlan?
All right, we've got A Candid Conversation About Race from Michelle is Money Hungry, COVID-19 Financial Resources from iHeart Budgets, Taking Out a 401k Loan During Hard Times by Investing Latina, The Biggest Threat to Black Wealth is White Terrorism by Bitches Get Riches, and The Black Dollar from Money Talk with Tiff.
Best debt freedom content presented by Student Loan Planner, Miranda.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that this is our first one with a category sponsor. And if you would like to sponsor a trophy, head on over to the PlutusAwards.com. Check that out. And you can actually see what's still available. And if we haven't said presented by, please head on over and sponsor a category. So anyway, best debt freedom content. We've got Arrest Your Debt, Clever Girl Finance, Debt Free Gonna Be, Friends on Fire, and Jackie Beck.
By the way, if you do sponsor part of the Plutus Awards, one of the categories, Harlan, that all goes to help the Plutus Foundation. And if we can take just a little break here and talk for a second about the Plutus Foundation, we're always up to some really good stuff there.
Yeah, well, one of the things we do with the foundation is we present grants several times a year to different individuals, or organizations, or groups or companies, whatever it may be, who are putting together financial literacy projects within their community. And there is definitely a wide variety of projects that we've supported before. We also sponsor events and support members of our community, financial bloggers, podcasters, influencers who put together events. And we run our own events as well, such as kind of like Plutus Voices, which we're looking to get back to doing very shortly, as soon as people are comfortable getting together and it's safe to do so.
Yeah, I really, really missed those. And I was sad, man. We were getting ready to set one of those up in Detroit when I was there. And
yeah. Detroit was going to be awesome. I don't know what we'll do without you there now.
I'll have to fly back to get there. All right. Back to you, though, Harlan. Let's do this one. Best entrepreneurship or side hustle content presented by Millennial Money Man.
Okay, we've got Arts and Budget, I Like to Dabble, Cat Theo, Side Hustle Pro, and The Simple Startup.
Miranda, next up, best family or couples finance content.
Yeah, we've got The Debt Free Guys, Family Money Adventure, Financially Engaged, His and Her FI Post, Marriage, Kids and Money, Our Rich Journey, and Rich and Regular.
Now, people will notice that for some of those early on, Miranda, we had 5 people. This one, we had 7. We want to go back and explain that?
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things that, as Harlan kind of alluded to earlier, with having multiple different channels and media, types of media in these categories, some of the panelists found that the original nominees were just very passionate about the fact that there were really high quality folks beyond 5. And so some of these actually have 7 to just reflect the sheer number of high quality entries that we're looking at. So it's very exciting. We did talk to the panel. The panel did want to expand some of the categories to 7, and we kind of looked at it and said, okay, well, here's where some of these should be expanded to 7. We've done that. Maybe in the future, we'll be able to expand all of them to 7. So we'll see. And the best of the year categories, maybe someday to 15. Harlan's just like, no.
We got to stop somewhere.
I don't care. It's not my. Anyway, yeah. So we're excited to see so many great entrants in the community and so many amazing content creators to choose from.
All right, Harlan, I believe this is back to you. Best financial content for women.
All right. In this category, we've got Bitches Get Riches, Bravely Go, Budget Queen, Dumpster Dog Blog, Her First 100K, The Fairer Sense, and Tread Lightly, Retire Early.
Miranda, best financial independence or retire early content?
Fire. So we've got Accidental Fire, A Purple Life, Choose FI, Early Retirement Now, the Earn and Invest podcast, Rich and Regular, and the Fioneers.
Wow. Best financial literacy content for children presented by the College Investor.
All right. So again, this is a new category, so I'm excited about this one. We've got Cash Crunch Games, Financial Garden, Kids Money Academy, Money Prodigy, and Podcash Kids.
Best generational financial literacy content, Miranda?
We've got Fiery Millennials, Jessica Morehouse, Managing Midlife, Surviving and Thriving, and Paychecks and Balances.
And here I think by best generational, that means putting together the different generations instead of having separate age groups.
Well, yeah. So in the past, we've done things like had separate age groups like Best Gen X, Best Gen Z, Best Boomer. We've done those kinds of things. And now it's just in general, generational financial literacy. So if your content is aimed at one specific, kind of age group, it's going to be in here. So that's kind of exciting to see, because it does kind of get mixed around a lot, and you're going to have, and we talked on the panel about, oh, well, maybe we should just do like young and old. and I'm just sitting here, well, I'm Gen X, so does that make me old now? I mean, and we've done in the past where we've had Boomer and Gen X together, and then Gen Y and Gen Z together, like Millennial and Gen Z. So it's like a whole thing. And so now it's just all kind of mixed in there together, and we've gone ahead and added that children's financial literacy. So it's kind of fun. It's always different. It's always interesting to see each year what the panel wants to emphasize and how they do that.
Yeah, it truly is. I like some of the shifting over time. Next up, best international or expat finance content.
And we've got All Options Considered, Go Curry Cracker, Jordan Cox, The Money Fox, and Wander Onwards.
Best investment content presented by Wealth Tender, Miranda.
We've got Building Bread, Dumpster Dog Blog, Her First 100K, Investing Latina, JL Collins, Money for the Rest of Us, and Popcorn Finance.
Best new personal finance blog. These are always, by the way, these best new are some of my favorite categories. Just seeing some of the fresh new things people are doing. Best new personal finance blog presented by Personal Finance Blogs.
We've got Brave Saver, Cash for Tacos, Fire with a Family, Literally Broke, Mama Bear Finance, Trip of a Lifestyle, and We Want Guac.
Between tacos and guac, it makes me hungry, that category.
I know. I haven't had lunch yet. I want some lunch now.
Best new personal finance book presented by Well Kept Wallet.
We have Broke Millennial Takes on Investing by Aaron Lowry, Clever Girl Finance by Bola Sakumbi, Money for the Rest of Us by J. David Stein, and The Mindful Millionaire by Leisa Peterson.
Best new personal finance podcast presented by the amazing Steve Stewart.
We've got Crazy Money, Find Your Freedom, This is Awkward, Winning to Wealth, and Yo Quiero Dinero.
Best new personal finance video channel, Miranda.
We've got Financial Demics, Make Real Sense, The Broken Wallet, The Layman Investor, and Wander Onwards. Now, I do want to kind of pull something up here real quick. A couple of these are actually TikTok channels. So The Layman Investor, for instance, is TikTok, and actually Make Real Sense is also TikTok. So we have a couple of TikTok creators here in our video channels. So that's exciting to see as we're bringing in these kind of new ways of getting the message out there.
Boy, and you see, Miranda, that they're doing it, and it's not all dance videos either.
That's right. It's some of it's just standing there about money.
You can do TikTok and talk about money. But dancing about money is always good too. All right. Best personal finance content for underserved communities presented by The Motley Fool, Harlan.
Yeah, and this is another new category, so I'm excited about this. We've got Debt-Free Guys, Immigrant Finance, Miss Be Helpful, Money Smart Latina, Money the Right Way, Paychecks and Balances, and Yo Quiero Dinero.
Best personal finance freelancer or contributor presented by Miranda Marquit and Head Explodes, read by Miranda Marquit.
And also, fun fact, I am ineligible in this category because I've won it twice. So, Alyssa Davies, Ben Luthi, Chauncey Maddox, Eric Rosenberg, Kat Tratina, Melanie Lockhart, and Sarah Lee Kane.
Best real estate content.
All right. We've got 1,500 Days to Freedom, Afford Anything, Coach Carson, FI by REI, Landlord in Stilettos, Live with Plum, and Real Estate Rockstars.
Best social media for personal finance by Dr. Hans, the investing tutor.
We have Bravely Go on Instagram, Budget Queen on Instagram, Debt Free Charts on Pinterest, Debt Free Gonna Be on Instagram, Hey Berna on Instagram, Peerless Money on Twitter, and The Money Manual on Pinterest.
And you talked about earlier, Miranda, back to something you said earlier, which is you've won a category before. Maybe some people that are either listening or hanging out with us live watching are thinking, hey, why isn't my favorite XYZ thing in there? It might have been because they already won. Can you talk to that for a second?
Yeah. So in general, we have tried over the years. Now, in earlier years, it was just like the Wild West. It was a free for all, but we've tried over the years to kind of, I mean, who doesn't, who can't, who can forget the image of Jay Money standing there with never-ending trophies? So it was crazy town. So what we've done now is we have over the years kind of imposed a limit. It gets a little bit crazy as things get divided or recombined, but in general, we try to limit people who have won in a category twice. So if you, not overall, not all the things, but if you've won in a certain category twice, you are ineligible to win again. So yes, so if some of your favorites aren't in there, there's a really good chance that they've already won twice, and we're trying to spread the love.
Yes, recognize more and more names, Harlan, like you said earlier.
Exactly.
Best traditional retirement content, Harlan?
We've got Building Bread, Can I Retire Yet? J.L. Collins, Retirement Researcher and Social Security Intelligence.
The Community Builder Award presented by Wallet Hacks.
Okay, so this is embarrassing. Here we go. We've got Angela Rosman, Jennifer Ma, me, Sandy Smith, Stephanie O'Connell Rodriguez.
I couldn't figure out why you were saying this is embarrassing, and then I looked. Oh yeah, yes. Most entertaining content creator, Harlan.
Yeah, here's a classic that was brought back this year, so this is a fun one. We've got Bitches Get Riches, Dumpster Dog Blog, DIY Money, Hey Berna, Make Real Sense, Oh My Dollar, and Stacking Benjamins.
How about that? Lifetime achievement we won't be talking about today. So you will have to wait and see who wins the Lifetime Achievement Award. But Harlan, who won the Lifetime Achievement Award last year?
It was Sandy Smith.
It was Sandy Smith.
Sandy, of course it was.
Yeah,
Who else was
so
it
well
gonna be?
deserved. She was on stage a lot last year, so which award it was went through my head. But yeah, of course it was Sandy Smith. So well deserved, and it was amazing to honor her last year with this award. And looking forward to seeing what amazing person is also going to walk away with that this year.
Well, and it's interesting, Harlan. It's funny you say that because she was, the joke was she was the Susan Lucci of the awards, being nominated all the time, and then last year finally there was this big breakthrough for Sandy, which was awesome.
And just so you know, in order to be eligible for Lifetime Achievement, you need to be in the community for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of this long thing, and it's really about, longevity in the community. And in internet years, 10 years is a long time. But here we are. And so, yes, Joe Salsihai will actually be eligible. Somebody's mentioned Joe Salsihai here on the Facebook, and he will actually be eligible next year. So,
but I'm not old. Just so you know, not old. But these are the 3 crowning achievement awards, people at the top of their game. Personal Finance Blog of the Year, Miranda, presented by Capital Group.
All right, Personal Finance Blog of the Year. We have A Purple Life, Bitches Get Riches, Her First 100K, His and Her Money, I Like to Dabble, Physician on Fire, The College Investor, Tread Lightly, Retire Early, and Wallet Hacks. And Women Who Money.
And by the way, if you're looking for just great content, great voices in personal finance, any of these categories are fantastic. These are, of course, people doing some of the best work out there. And where can we find the full list, Miranda?
It's going to be live on the Plutus Awards site, not now. After this show, we're going to go ahead and put it up. You can find it at plutusawards.com/finalists. And it will be after we're done with this show. It's going to go live and you can find the complete list with links to where you can find these folks.
Yes. And people listening on Stacking Benjamins, you will find it live now by the time we have this loaded up. All right. You shouldn't have a favorite area, but this obviously is mine because I love podcasting. But Personal Finance Podcast of the Year, presented by Capital Group. Harlan?
All right. We've got a good group here. We've got Beyond the Dollar, Bigger Pockets Money, Brown Ambition, Earn and Invest Podcast, How to Money, Journey to Launch, Oh My Dollar, Paychecks and Balances, Popcorn Finance, and The Fairer Sense.
And Personal Finance Video Channel of the Year, added for the first time this year and presented by Capital Group. Miranda.
We have Clever Girl Finance, Frugal Chic Life, Graham Stephen, Hey Berna, Investing Latina, Let's Talk Money, Our Rich Journey, The Broken Wallet, The Financial Diet, and 2 Cents.
That's a fantastic list, guys. I'm really excited for this year's awards. I know, Harlan, besides that awesome new host you have this year, you also have some surprises that are coming up.
It's going to be an amazing ceremony. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, it is going to be virtual this year. And that actually opens up a lot of opportunities for us to have some fun with it. So I am super excited about that. And don't forget also, we have People's Choice that we're going to let everyone know about very soon, about how their votes can count for that. And that's another top prize that we give out here at the Plutus Awards.
Awesome. Well, Harlan, Miranda, thanks for sharing the awards again this year with us. It's going to be a real exciting show. Thanks a ton.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
And welcome to part 2 of our special episode of the Stacking Benjamin Show, the part where we mix it up and we talk about who are our favorites, who do we expect to win, who is the long shot to win, but we'd love to see win. We're going to talk about, unfortunately, not every single category, but we've picked out 6 categories plus best new. We're going to go through all the best new, and we're also going to go through, of course, the 3 big categories. But here to help me this year, we've got some fantastic people. We're going to start out, I believe she's in the Northeast. Our friend Jess from the Fioneers joins us. How are you?
I'm good. Really, really happy to be here.
Okay, did I get that right, though, Jess? You are in the Northeast, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took a swing and I got it right. So that's great.
You did. Yeah.
Well, so for people who don't know about the Fioneers, tell everybody a little bit.
Absolutely. So my husband and I started the Fioneers in 2018. And the idea behind our blog is that the journey to financial independence should be as remarkable as the destination. So we brought in the theme of Fioneers or pioneers, and then we added the Fi to it. And then if you've heard anything like Slow Fi or Coast Fi, any of those terminology, we're the blog that's popularized that amongst the community.
Awesome. And by the way, we will link to the Fioneers, as we will to everybody who's on our podcast today on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. And a woman you heard here just a little over a month ago, she has the Wealth Clinic podcast. She also is the author of the Mindful Millionaire. It's our friend Leisa Peterson back.
Hello there.
I'm so happy that we're talking to you again, Leisa. How have you been since we last talked?
I've been really good. This is super fun. I'm excited for this conversation.
Well, so for people that don't know, the Mindful Millionaire, they missed you and I in our exciting interview, probably the best episode of Stacking Benjamins, frankly, we've ever had.
Right.
Tell everybody a little bit about your awesome book.
So I set out to write a book to help people who know that their relationship with money needs some work. So that's the area that I love talking about.
Awesome. And I'm glad that you are here mixing it up with us. And it's funny because we have people from all different places here. I really like how our three panelists all come at this from a whole different point of view. And the third point of view is really a guy who helps people create all that awesome stuff that you are going to hear about today. The man behind Do You Even Blog, Pete McPherson's here with us. How are you, Pete?
I am doing absolutely fantastic show. Thank you for having me.
Well, tell everybody about the blog, the podcast, about everything Pete.
Everything Pete, blog, podcast, YouTube, snail mail. I like to help people create better content on the internet. So I'm the guy here just nerding out on all these awesome bloggers, personal finance people we are going to talk about. And by the way, Leisa was so good on the Stacking Benjamins podcast that when I had Joe on my own podcast to talk about podcasting, he brought up that episode. No joke. That was about a year ago, but he brought it up.
I did that. Well, what's funny about that one, that was Lisa's first time on the show, which the second time Pete's even better. So, yeah.
Oh, gotta go check it out.
Just absolutely. Well, I'm glad you guys are with us. And as I mentioned earlier, we're not going to be able to go through every category, but we're going to hit as many as we can. And for everybody listening, the reason why I love doing this, this particular episode of the show, this special episode, is we're going to give you an idea behind just the breadth of things people are talking about when it comes to financial topics, which really are life topics. And I find that every year that we do this episode, that when you follow the topics people are talking about and exactly where the river's flowing, man, does it meander. And it really has been a nice look into kind of where we've headed and where we're heading. And on that note, our first category here is going to be best current events content related to personal finance. This is a brand new category this year, and we have 5 nominees. I'll go through them again, or 5 finalists, as we call them at the Plutus Awards. First one is a candid conversation about race from Michelle is Money Hungry, Michelle Jackson, who's been on the show before. COVID-19 financial resources. That's from our friend Jacob over at iHeart Budgets. Taking out a 401k loan during hard times. That's from the Investing Latina. The biggest threat to black wealth is white terrorism by Bitches Get Riches, and the black dollar from Money Talk with Tiff. So let's start, I think, with you, Jess. These 5 current events, man, these are all big things that happened in our community and in the world this year.
Yeah, it's hard to choose, right? I look at this list and I want to choose every single one of them. But the ones that stick out to me are, one, the candid conversation about race with Michelle on her podcast. I remember listening to that podcast and just my mind was blown at some of the things that she was sharing.
What was before we move on, because let's talk about that one first, if you don't mind. What was the mind-blowing part of that conversation to you?
What was so interesting about it that I hadn't realized before the podcast was she pointed out that the country started reopening once the announcement was made that COVID is really just killing Black and brown people. And to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that is actually so true, that once we realized that there were only certain segments of our population that were dying from COVID, all of a sudden we started believing that it was time to reopen because that group of people did not matter as much. And that was really mind-blowing to me.
I know our friend Sandy Smith was on Twitter the other night talking about how she was just listening to that episode, catching up on it. Leisa or Pete, did either of you catch that episode?
I hadn't, but this is really powerful conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did not either, but I do want to jump in here and just say that Michelle was one of my favorite people in this entire personal finance community. She's pretty outspoken. For those who have listened to her on other people's podcasts, she's pretty blunt and she's smart, which is like a deadly combo. And that blog post, I actually have it pulled up right in front of me here. Candid conversation about race. It's good. I read it. I believe it came out like early June. I read it when it first came out. I actually haven't looked at it since. It's been a few months now. But this gets my vote. I think she's going to win. I don't think it's much of a discussion after this. I think it deserves to win. I like the BGR blog post there too. Everything they put out. Just that title, the biggest threat to black wealth is white terrorism. Everybody's going to click on that. That's just good blog right there. But I still think Michelle deserves it, and she's going to take it home.
I don't think anybody, Pete, does titles as well as the bitches do titles.
No, absolutely not. They're so good.
Yeah, they really do. So, Jess, back to you. You said there were a couple more that really caught your eye.
Yeah, so the Bitches Get Riches post was one of them that really caught my eye. I reread it again last night, and that one was about the Tulsa massacre on Black Wall Street, and how basically because of violence against people of color that there's so much less innovation happening, because people didn't believe after the Tulsa massacre happened that anyone had their back. And so if they succeeded, they were worried that there would be violence perpetrated against them. And so because of that, there's a researcher that believes that there was, hundreds of patents that were not actually created during that time because of people feeling like they couldn't innovate.
And then you said that there was a third one as well.
Yeah. So the third one that I really thought was interesting was the COVID-19 financial resources from iHeart Budgets. So Jacob, right after COVID hit, went and just pulled as many resources as he possibly could related to finances and what people would need after COVID. And I know it was incredibly helpful because he had so many people using his site and saw his traffic just dramatically increase because of that COVID-19 financial resources page.
There are two left here that we haven't talked about: the Black Dollar from Money Talk with Tiff, and taking out a 401k loan during hard times by Investing Latina. I actually watch that Investing Latina YouTube page and often follow Investing Latina. But this particular, there's so many people out there taking out 401k loans during hard times. And frankly, right now, obviously, there are some rules that will allow you to not even have to take out a loan. You can just take money. But I thought that was a pretty great conversation.
Talking about YouTube and the COVID-19 financial resources, there's actually somebody who I don't even think got nominated in the first place. They're definitely not a finalist. I think probably should have been on there. I should have worked to get them on there. And that's Erica Kohlberg. She started producing 3 or 4 times a week. She's a lawyer, just coming at the stimulus checks, coming out and talking in just cold, hard data, cold, hard facts about the economy, the state of economy. Her YouTube channel skyrocketed, by the way. I mean, she's reached thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So good. I want to go back to Investing Latina and say that I fully support this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
She's also just one of these people who just gets on camera and just starts talking. And it's an honest conversation. I actually did not see that video when it came out, but rewatching that there, I have seen her channel come up a lot before. She does really good work.
Money Talk with Tiff, by the way, is a podcast that I only recently learned about, just maybe, a month and a half ago. And I feel like I've been missing out because Tiffany just has such a presence when she talks about money. And this particular episode where she sits down with Eugenie George and they talk about current events and what needs to happen in the Black community, obviously impacted a lot of people. And she's 41 episodes in, and I feel like I've been missing out. So, Money Talk with Tiff also strong. So, Jess, we heard who Pete thinks is going to win. Who do you have down as winning this category?
I have Michelle.
Also, Michelle.
Michelle's
Good
Money
pick.
Hungry. Yep.
Solid pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Leisa, how about your vote for who you think's going to win this category?
I really like Heart Budgets, the COVID-19 financial resources, because I sent my community to that resource and thought it was awesome.
Yeah, Jacob does a great job over there. My vote goes to also Michelle is money hungry. These are some big topics, and boy, if people follow these links, you're going to get great stuff at each of the 5 of these. But I think it's Michelle for me too, and I do love Leisa, Jake's stuff. Well, I can just talk about all 5 of these, so we'll keep moving on. Our next category, best financial content for women, is up next, and we have 7 finalists here. That's expanded from last year where there were only 5. Here we go. The finalists are Bitches Get Riches, Bravely Go, Budget Queen, Dumpster Dog Blog, Her First 100K, The Fairer Sense, and Tread Lightly, Retire Early. We started with Jess last time. Leisa, let's start with you. Which one of these really sticks out to you?
I think that The Fairer Sense has been one that's been on my radar, just learning about what they're doing and really taking a stance for this feminism and finance. And I feel like I am learning a lot by watching what they've been sharing. So that's the one that sticks out for me.
And for people that don't know that brand, Leisa, they don't just talk about money. They talk a lot about social justice. They talk a lot about, it's a very wide-ranging podcast.
It really is. They're covering all kinds of topics that I think the way I look at it is they're not afraid to take on things that are uncomfortable to talk about. And they're like, let's go for it. And I like that approach because I definitely hesitate. So I'm curious, like, oh, wow, what are they going to cover next? And it's really interesting.
Jess, how about you?
Again, there's too many for me to give accolades to. But first, I'll say one, I love Bravely Go. Kara Perez is incredible. And I know she put on a new financial feminist summit this year for her community. And so that was really incredibly impactful. And she was able to do that online to get people from all across the country to join. And
just for people listening, Kara's also half of the Fairer Sense that we just talked about. So she's in here twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the next one I want to call out is Her First 100K. And so Tori does just an incredible job of engaging with women, particularly younger women, around increasing your salary, building your career, building a business. And it was something happened recently that, she's really been reaching out a lot to Gen Z. And so she started a TikTok channel like 3 weeks ago and already has like 250,000 followers on TikTok.
She and I were writing back and forth about that last week. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Yeah. So just her ability to reach that community of people when, even somebody like me who's in my mid 30s, like I can't even figure out TikTok.
I was going to say, I can't TikTok, Jess, because I can't dance. I mean, I'm not a dancer. Does that knock me off TikTok? I
honestly have no idea.
I don't think that knocks you off TikTok, but being of the older non-Gen Z generation, that might cut you a little bit.
Easy, Pete. In my head, I'm very Gen Z. All right, pal? Come on.
So the last one I want to call out here is Tread Lightly, Retire Early. So Angela does a weekly women's roundup on her blog. So she pulls together the best posts across the internet written by women each week. And she has a women's personal finance Facebook group that's now over like 20,000 women strong. And it is just an incredible group, incredibly supportive. And the admins do such a great job of making that group feel really informative and inclusive and like make sure people are following the rules. So I think she's awesome too.
Pete, how about you?
So this is going to be a little weird and a little controversial only because I'm a guy. I'll tell you who I think will win, and I'll tell you who I want to win as well. First of all, Kara is probably like the coolest and best person ever. And Bravely Go is like really well done. Of course, I'm always going to throw my hand up to vote for BGR. Like they're the two funniest, coolest people in personal finance blogging. I'm sorry, but they are. I think they should also win.
But funnier though, Pete, I was going to say funnier than Amanda at Dumpster Dog.
Oh, this is where we're going. I think Amanda is not only just right up there on par with in the funny category, but also just on the, I can really teach investing and finance. Like, she has chops. Like, that's just a whole nother level that I don't think you find quite as much. I think she deserves to win. I also like Tori from her first 100K. And we already mentioned she speaks to a younger crowd. She also just kind of radiates confidence in an interesting way. I'm going to pull up her homepage. I had it just a second ago. Fighting the patriarchy by making you rich. And it's like an awesome picture of her standing there. I think she's inspiring to a lot of women, probably of a younger generation. And I got to give her credit for that. I think she's doing awesome work over there. I don't actually know if she's going to win. I think it's either going to be Kara or Dumpster Dog Blog, but I think Tori's a contender as well.
I gotta say, it's funny. Nobody has mentioned Clarissa yet, the budget queen, and yet the more I hear about the budget queen, the more that I just love her story. The fact that she grew up with a single mother who worked 2 jobs, saw how hard her mom worked, realized that she wanted to do things differently. She paid off $43,000 of credit card debt in 16 months. Just the stuff that she does is super interesting. And like you, Pete, I'm not a woman, so it's not for me, but I definitely look at this category and I think Clarissa's got a great story as well. So we've got 7 great contenders there. Man, so Pete has done his picks. You think it's going to be Amanda and Dumpster Dog?
You're forcing me to choose a favorite. This is tough. Over here. You know what? Who I actually think will win, I'm going to go with her first 100K.
Tori
I'm
Dunlop.
Going to switch it up at the last second here and put my check mark by Tori.
All right. Leisa, who do you think's going to win?
Now I'm really curious with what Pete shared, so I'm going to say Dumpster Dog Blog.
All right. And Jess?
I'm going to go with Bravely Go for the Financial Feminist Summit.
Well, and that's funny because I think I'm going to go with Amanda and Tread Lightly, Retire Early. How about that? So this is
Angela.
Yeah, we have
Angela Tread Lightly, Retire Early.
Yeah, we have no consensus here, which means this is going to be an exciting one to follow.
There are so many awesome women.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great one. Let's move on, guys. Our next category, Best Financial Independence or Retire Early Content, presented by Josh Overmeyer. So for the FIRE movement category here, we have Accidental FIRE, A Purple Life, a little brand called Choose FI, never heard of them. Early Retirement Now, that was a joke, by the way. Earn and Invest podcast, Rich and Regular, and the Fioneers. So, Jess, you clearly know who you'd like to have win. I also have to say that I'm part owner of the Earn and Invest podcast. So we'll put those 2 things out there before we start.
Do we need to recuse ourselves from the conversation?
Well, I think we just have to let people know we may be slightly biased, but let's, for that reason, why don't we start with Leisa? Leisa, what catches your eye here?
I think Rich and Regular. That's the one that's jumping out to me.
How come?
I was recently on their site and I just felt immediately welcomed by the pictures and the things that were being shared. And I was like, wow, I'm constantly amazed at the creativity of the way, having been in finance for like 30 years, it just felt more personable than a lot of other sites. So that's what's jumping out to me.
Boy, and have you watched, Leisa, yet their new video series?
I haven't.
Their videos, for somebody who they just started doing videos, and it makes me sick because they're so absolutely great. They're just fantastic. And
what's the vibe? Why do you think it's so good?
It is. I don't know. Pete, have you seen them?
I have. Yeah, they just have this vibe of like, you know what, we know what we're doing. We feel confident, specifically on video, by the way. Like we feel confident. We know what we're doing here. They just give this vibe of personality that is watchable. I don't really know how else to say it other than that, but they've done a really good job. I've also talked with them on and off on a few occasions, and they're They're smart young whippersnappers. They have heads on their shoulders. They're really good.
For them too, I find that like no matter what platform they're on, they're so authentic and just so real with what's going on in their lives and what they want to share with the world. And that's part of the reason why they did not want to be anonymous. But their videos just shines through in those videos, more so than any other platform.
I think that's a great lesson though, Jess, for people that might be either just starting out or people that are interested in thinking, in getting into this, like the authenticity. When I first started in this community, I thought that I'd write the most professional stuff and nobody read it and it was boring. And then when I started talking about all the stuff that I messed up, that's when we started to get some traction.
Mm-hmm. So for this category, I'll tell you, even I am a finalist in this category. I would say that I think I'm an underdog in this category. I like when we combined for the Plutus panel, when we decided to combine the podcast and blog and video all together, I was not sure the Fioneers was going to make the cuts. Really excited to see us there. But I do think we are an underdog here. I think for me, the one that I think that will win is Choose FI because they have such a large audience. Who I want to win is Rich and Regular because of their incredible, authentic, and just such a strong and unique voice amongst the community. And then Joe, I feel like Earn and Invest is a little bit of an underdog too.
Sure.
In the space. A Purple Life might also be a little bit of an underdog as well. But she's incredible. And I'm really, really happy to see her on this list. She's actually retiring in about a month at the age of 30. And she's a Black woman. So writes a lot about trying to, really show that people who look like her are able to do this as well.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, too, to your point, Jess, that for me, this is probably a 2-horse race, right? Rich and Regular have already won Blog of the Year. Choose FI has won Podcast of the Year. So you have the meeting of these two powerhouse brands going at each other, and you're right. Everybody else on this list, fantastic work between the work that you do, Jess, that Doc G does at Earn and Invest. I get to see behind the scenes of how hard he works on that show and how much he tries to have these textured and deep conversations. Of course, what can't you say about early retirement now about Earn? And and just the data on his site and the mind of that man is just phenomenal. Pete, you're nodding your head.
Yeah, let me talk about Earn for a second. This isn't a brand. I'm sorry. I love this site. It's not a brand. It is a blog in like the best sense of the word. In fact, when you land on that website and you start going through his content, you see the numbers. You see that data. You see it's highly technical. And quite frankly, some people are put off by that. Some people nerd out on that sort of stuff. Is it the best content, which is technically, according to the title of this particular Plutus category, what we're voting on, I don't know if it's the best content, but it is good. And I actually think it's set apart from everybody else in this category. An underdog probably compared to, Choose FI, Rich and Regular, but I really like that blog. Let me also just give another shout out to A Purple Life while we're looking at this. She, more than anybody else on this particular list, I'm going to use that word inspiring again. I love being inspired for money. I like being inspired to save more, to budget, to invest, to make better decisions, to have a better mindset. For whatever reason, that hits me with personal finance. And I think she does it for me. A Purple Life, great blog, great Twitter account. She's lovely in person. I've met her. I also think she's an underdog, but I would love for her to win as well.
One brand we haven't talked about yet, and man, it's not because he's not a powerhouse, but I think Dave at Accidental Fire writes some fantastic stuff. And the fact that, I just love this idea that somebody made it to what they're around age 40 and just went, oh, I'm financially independent. And then goes back and looks at the fact that why am I financially independent, and goes back and dives into that. And also the outdoor adventures at Accidental Fire, I think is a great journey. Good stuff there. All right. We've talked about the different brands. Let's lock in our picks. And Jess, you can't vote for your own. So who's going to win? I think we'll start with Leisa. Leisa, who's going to win this thing?
So hearing the conversation, now I'm back to Earn and Invest podcast because I do love how hard he works on pulling it all together. And I was on his show and I was blown away. So there's my vote.
He does do great interviews, and obviously, like I said, I'm very biased. But but Jess, how about you? If it can't be Fioneers, who do you think it's going to be?
If I could vote for this one, my vote would be for Rich and Regular.
Pete?
As much as I hate to say sorry, Jess, I think Fioneers is an underdog. I would also say, sorry, Earn, you're an underdog. Sorry, A Purple Life, you're an underdog too. I just think Choose Fi is going to come away with it because they have the biggest brand. They have the most loyal audience. Like, that's just going to be hard for them not to solidify that win. And the last thing I want to say on that, they do have some of the best content, period, on the internet. Not just like Fire, but I think what they've done for finance and the internet over the past like 4 or 5 years, it's unrivaled. So I think they're going to come home with it.
I think so too. It's so well-rounded. I mean, between video, podcasts, written content, resources, it's such a well-rounded thing that they've developed that I think it's hard to vote against them. So I'm on the Brad and Jonathan train as well over at Choose FI. Boy, that one's going to be interesting though, to see between those brands who's going to win. Let's move over to this one. We're going to talk about best investment content presented by Wealth Tender. The finalists here are Building Bread. The Dumpster Dog blog is back. Her first 100K. We've seen that name before as well. As we have Investing Latina. JL Collins makes an appearance here. Our friend David Stein at Money for the Rest of Us and Chris Browning at Popcorn Finance. So, Pete, let's start with you first. What stands out to you?
Amanda, we have talked about before, Dumpster Dog blog. I just think she's a great teacher for me personally. Like, she resonates. I love her investment content. Another one, I just got to give a shout out to my friend Chris at Popcorn Finance. That guy, the smoothest podcasting voice you will ever find. And even recently, the past couple of months, has had a lot of short-ish content, like 8-10 minutes. A lot of investing specific content, which I have found. I'm the investing master. I mean, let's be frank. That was a joke. That was sarcasm. But I know a little bit about investing, and I'm still learning everything when I listen to him. It's been like super helpful. So, I mean, JL Collins, no one's ever heard of that guy. We talked about Investing Latina a little bit. The only one I don't know on this list that I'd be curious to hear what you all think is Building Bread. But as far as my vote, by the way, I'll go ahead and cast it out there. I would love to see probably Amanda win. Dumpster Dog blog.
Dumpster Dog blog. Leisa, what do you think?
So I was really intrigued by Building Bread and checking it out. I know I like something when I immediately want to share it with my community, and I just got a really good feel for what he's doing in his investment courses, because I think this is an area that always could use more attention. I was really curious to learn more, but that was the one that was sticking out. I also know David Stein. I'm a fan of his work and his angle of teaching about finance. And then JL Collins has been on my show. I love how he just makes it so simple and like investing when everything's falling apart and it's going to be okay. And I just love his approach.
He does. JL Collins has a very calming demeanor that makes you trust that the water's going to be okay, Leisa.
He does. It's one of my most popular episodes on my new show. And I know that's why people are like, I'm just going to listen to him because he's going to make me feel better.
Jess, how about you?
So I have to say that my vote here is for JL Collins, and I can't believe that he is still on this list, that he hasn't won yet. And my reason for that is, one, JL Collins was the one that introduced me to like actually having an understanding of investing.
Oh, cool.
And since then, I have shared that with so many people. I have a colleague who I gave the Simple Path to Wealth to earlier this year, and she got so excited. It's like now saving 50% of her income and like wants to pursue FIRE. And she jokingly, her and her partner will say, would Uncle JL approve of this decision? Right. So I think it's so like his stock series and the Simple Path to Wealth is just so accessible. And I'm certainly not a investing person. I haven't been until I read that content and realized like, oh, it really is simple. And I can actually do this myself. And so my vote's for JL Collins, Uncle JL.
Uncle JL. It's funny. We've talked a lot about several of these brands. Her first 100K, Dumpster Dog Blog, Investing Latina, we've talked about before. Building Bread, when you brought up that brand, Leisa, it's funny. Kevin Matthews is a guy. Kevin, if you're listening, he's been in our internal meetings that we got to get him on our show. So Kevin, consider this an invitation. We definitely want to talk more to him because his point of view is also so calming, and also he's such a great teacher when it comes to financial concepts. But I'm with you, Jess. JL Collins is a phenomenal teacher. I'm also surprised that he's here, but I have to tell you that my pick, the person I hope to win, and sadly I don't think he will win because he's always, I feel like he's up for these awards, but he always seems to be a little bit more in the background than he should be. I want to shine the light on, and Leisa, you did this a little bit, on David Stein. Money for the Rest of Us is a phenomenal podcast, and he's a great teacher, and especially when it comes to really complex stuff. Like, he'll take these really complex ideas and break them down in a way that I actually get it, which is amazing. And obviously with Stacking Benjamins, that's always been my MO, is how do you take this really complex stuff? And my goal is to make it fun, but I don't know how to make it accessible. David Stein makes it really accessible. So my vote is for David Stein. I also think JL Collins is going to win. Pete, did you say who you think's going to win?
I think JL Collins is going to take it home just because it's kind of a legend. That book, Simple Path to Wealth, if you already mentioned it, so good, so widely known as well. Yeah, I think he'll take it home.
Leisa?
JL, yes.
Yeah. We're all in agreement. So not like a couple of the other categories. We definitely think we'll see if we're right. That'll be interesting. Next up for us then, let's go to Best Real Estate Content. We haven't talked about that before on this show, so this will also be an interesting category. 7 finalists here. 1,500 Days to Freedom, Afford Anything, Coach Carson, Phi by REI, Landlord in Stilettos, which, by the way, may be one of my favorite names of a blog, Live with Plum, and last but not least, Real Estate Rock Stars. Leisa, let's talk to you first. Get your feelings. Let's talk about a few of these brands. What really sticks out to you?
So there's a lot going on here. I notice Real Estate Rockstars is focused towards real estate professionals, whereas the others are more personal finance. The one that is, Afford Anything has been featured, I think, over and over again. But here, I love her content. But also Live with Plum. I think out of all the folks, what I'm noticing is she's living the example where she's bought several pieces of real estate, it looks like in New York City, and she's talking about how she did it. Whereas the others feel like real estate content, but as a real estate investor, as I get into them, they're not speaking to me quite as much.
That's interesting. What do you think, Jess?
The two that stuck out to me most were Afford Anything and Coach Carson. So Afford Anything, because I know she has her real estate course, which is super high quality, and I've heard great reviews of that course. The next one is Coach Carson. My husband and I have followed him for a really long time, and I think he's the one that inspired us to consider getting into real estate in the future. I think he has his book Retire Early with Real Estate, that's been helpful. And then it's interesting, I haven't actually read a lot of the 1500 days actually real estate investing content, right? I know that they do real estate investing, but I know they write about a much broader array of topics. The one thing that sticks out to me about Carl, though, from 1500 Days is that he wishes that maybe he had gone slower in his acquisition of rental properties during his path to FI, because he felt like he missed out on a lot during that time. So yeah, so those are the three that stick out to me. I'm not sure I'd put 1500 Days as the top one, given I know he writes about a whole wide variety of things. I think I'd vote for Paula at Afford Anything.
Jess, though, when we were talking about earlier about women in finance and content created by women and content created specifically for women, we've got two examples here of not just real estate, but real estate specifically for women. Landlord in Stilettos with Michelle McAllister, really for women. And then also Live with Plum, specifically real estate buying for women. I don't know that I've seen that niche as well represented in the Plutus Awards as we are seeing it this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I don't know if we've seen. I think we've seen sort of the general real estate content, but I like that we're seeing the real estate content that's specifically focused toward women, because I think it's different for women who are looking to buy a house or invest in real estate, and that women need communities to be able to ask their questions where they're not going to get mansplained to.
Yeah, Pete, how about you? Speaking of mansplain something to us, Pete.
Mansplain. Yeah, here we go. No, so I'm going to talk about these women. Paula, it partially got me into real estate, probably 2014-ish. Just discovering her own journey. We both lived in Atlanta at that time, or she was like a little bit before me there. She really inspired me, and go back to my inspiration today, to get into real estate investing. So I'm always going to owe her that and owe her blog that. And quite frankly, between us, there's only 3 people here, right? That's all I'm talking to right now. The Plutus Awards love Paula. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Paula is she's a winner. And she likes to win Plutus Awards. She does win Plutus Awards. I don't actually know if she's going to come away with it. I might go with either Coach Carson or 1500 Days. But I do want to talk about Michelle at Landlord in Stilettos. I think she's an underdog for taking home the Plutus Trophy, but she kind of gets my vote. Like, this is right up there with Bitches Get Riches to me in terms of the brand and really like standing out, reaching people, especially reaching other women, especially reaching other women of color. I love her site. It looks like she has, I've never seen in her membership, but she has lots of resources, books. She has podcasts. She's all over the place, like really hustling to produce this content, and she kind of gets my vote. I think she's an underdog to win, but she gets my vote.
Well, you talked about underdogs. That's the way I feel about FI by REI. I know Andrew has a great story, and a guy who was in banking, got burnt out, got into real estate, tells a great story, has a great story, also has a podcast. But started in 2018, Pete. So to your point, when you're up against the Coach Carsons, the Afford Anythings, the people that have been around, it makes it really difficult for some of these new brands. But I'm sure people like this, we're going to see these guys again. I mean, I'm sure this is not the last we're going to hear of these brands. So let's time to place your bets, guys. Leisa, which way are you headed?
I'm pretty excited about learning more about Live with Plum, so that's my vote.
All right, and Pete?
I'm kind of flipping a coin on who I actually think is going to take home this trophy, but I'm going to go with the 1500 Days folks, Carl over there. I think he knows what he's doing. He's well known enough. He's going to take home the trophy.
How about that, Jess?
I think Paula is going to take home the trophy.
I would love for it to be Paula because, of course, she's on this show all the time. But, you know, I'm going to go with Coach Carson. I think Coach Carson's bringing it home. So, and again, we don't agree, which makes it more fun. It's so awesome.
We can't sway the Plutus Award panel this way.
We did. Our next topic, and this is one, everybody should have their devices out and follow all these people, because this is best social media for personal finance, presented by Dr. Hans, the investing tutor. This category, by the way, you can't go wrong following any of these people, following all of them. So first of all, we got Bravely Go on Instagram, Budget Queen on Instagram, Debt Free Charts on Pinterest, Debt Free Gonna Be on Instagram, Hey Berna on Instagram, Peerless Money on Twitter, and the Money Manual on Pinterest. So Leisa, let's start with you again. What do you think?
So first of all, I just have to say, I had no idea of the creativity. When you go and check out these sites, it's so much fun. I was blown away, first of all, by debt-free charts. Had no idea that this existed. I don't know how she's creating these charts on Pinterest, but it is really, really fun. Like coloring, galore, because you can go and find everything you want on Pinterest around helping you become debt-free. So that was pretty cool.
Detrus. Not Tetris, it's Detritus. She has one that looks like a Tetris board that you color in as you pay off debt. It's awesome.
Yeah, and Bravely Go was great, but every single one, it was like going on a scouting mission, and I love every single one of them.
Jess?
Yeah, so the few that stand out to me are, one, I always love Kara at Bravely Go. I really love Hey Berna on Instagram. I always feel like her content is incredibly uplifting, and she's always celebrating like the accomplishments of people in her audience with like really awesome videos that have like her a million times like dancing on the screen. So that's just like really good video editing. I have no idea how she does that. And I think the last one is, I really love the content that Peerless Money does on Twitter. I'm more of a Twitter person. I feel like I haven't hacked Instagram, and I certainly haven't hacked Pinterest. And so I'm pretty drawn to Peerless Money, who does such a great job on that platform.
I like the questions that are asked on Peerless Money. I think that he asks such good questions that really get people thinking. That's fantastic. Pete, how about you?
So I'm not huge on Instagram. I do follow these people. First of all, who I want to win. Let's get that out of the way right now. I think those debt-free charts are so fun and creative and interesting. So cool. But going back to Berna, she's a hype woman. It says all over her website. It says it on her Insta channel, and just the funness. I mean, Jess already mentioned this a little bit. It gets my vote. Like, it's something I want to see on social media, and so that kind of gets my vote as well. Another one we haven't talked about quite as much is DFGP, Debt Free Gonna Be. I actually had not followed this brand at all up until very, very recently, and I love it. The colors are pretty. It's well laid out. Like, everything just looks good for Instagram. And by the way, Instagram is all about looking good. That's good content, in my opinion. I think they're doing great work there as well. I don't really know who to cast my vote for. So if somebody else talk for a few minutes, I still have to make a decision here so I can cast my vote appropriately.
Well, I want to talk briefly about the Money Manual because we haven't mentioned them yet. 3.9 million monthly viewers follow the Money Manual on Pinterest. And man, just the perfect Pinterest pins. Here's how much you should spend on your monthly necessities. Doing this is the first step to getting out of debt. Let's talk about debt. It's time to talk. Like, some fantastic pins on Pinterest for them. I'm not generally a Pinterest guy, but anybody who's getting 3.9 million views on Pinterest, that's wow, that's amazing. And of course, I talked about her before, the Budget Queen. Budget Queen again in this category, really lighting it up on Instagram. All right, time for us to choose who we think is going to win. Leisa, we'll go ahead and start with you. And I'm starting with you specifically because you said you know all of them. And I know that's kind of your vibe overall in life, Leisa, is I just want to love everybody. But I'm going to make you pick one, damn it.
I know. I think, hey, Berna, like I wanted to be friends with her the minute I saw her site. So she's pulling me in. And I feel like there's this club that I don't understand, but I want to be a part of.
Jess, how about you?
I feel like it's such a hard choice between Budget Queen, Debt Free Gonna Be, and Hey Berna. And I feel like the debt free community is so big on Instagram that like I have to go with one of them. Oh, I think I'm going to go Debt Free Gonna Be.
Yeah. Pete.
I'm so glad you did that, because if you said, hey, Berna, I was just going to have to choose somebody else just to be different. But since you chose them, I get to cast my vote for Berna. She's amazing. I think she's going to win.
Yeah, I like all these brands. Fantastic stuff. Debt-free charts. In close second. Hey, Berna gets mine too. So I think we're almost the hive mind on that one. All right, we are just about to get to the best new and the of the year categories, the big 6 categories. But before we get to that, I want to go through one that we've covered a lot here over the course of the year. I love talking to people about their books. And so we're going to talk about Best New Personal Finance Book presented by Well Kept Wallet. And the 5 finalists here, Broke Millennial Takes on Investing by Erin Lowry, the follow-up to her best-selling Broke Millennial book. Debt Free or Die Trying by Marcus Garrett. Clever Girl Finance by our friend Bola Succumbi. Money for the Rest of Us by David Stein. And this book called The Mindful Millionaire by Leisa Peterson. Not sure I've heard of that one before. Leisa, obviously you're biased, so we're going to start with you. If it can't be Leisa Peterson and The Mindful Millionaire, what do you think about the rest of the people competing against you?
Yeah, it's a tough one. So I am almost done with David's book, Money for the Rest of Us, and it has been a beautiful journey. So I will say, just like you said earlier, he takes these complex, topics and he makes them so simple and realize something that you've never thought of before. So shout out to that book. And then I also really enjoy Broke Millennial Takes on Investing. So those would be the 2 top runners other than my own book.
Yeah, and she does something interesting there, talking about Erin for a second, Leisa. She kind of goes at it from the opposite side, where David is a guy who's been in the investing community forever. Erin really comes at it from this very young, fresh perspective about, hey, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know these few things. And I think is a good entry point for a lot of people.
It's great. It's funny because I think that the same person, myself included, I have a long history with investing, and I took something away from both of those books.
Jess, how about you?
This is also a hard one. I think the ones that stick out to me most are actually Clever Girl Finance. I love her Instagram page, and I think and the content particularly focused toward women always draws me in. And then Debt Free or Die Trying. So, I have not read that book, but I've read the overview of that book, and it sounds like it is just an incredible book for people who are, in debt or thinking about trying to get out of debt, and really gives you the baseline strategies to be able to do that. So that one sounds like it's an incredible book.
Marcus has quite a story, and I know he's going chapter by chapter through that book and really updating it and tightening it, which is neat about books these days, because he came out with a book. It was a great book when it first came out, and he's like, you know what, I can make it even better. So he's making it better. Pete, how about you?
Yeah, this is a really tough one for me, but that's only because I have not read a single one of them. And I don't like personal finance books. I haven't read one in quite a while. So I'm not going to weigh in on which one I think is the best book, because I think that would be a little bit unfair. But I will say I love Erin Lowry's stuff. I like what you pointed out just a minute ago. she's targeting a bit of a different audience than David is. And I like that even in personal finance, there's a lot of people doing a great job at meeting their audience where they are at. I just love people who had that dialed in. I think that's so good. I think you're right about Erin Lowry. I did read her first book, but I also love Marcus, great podcaster as well, by the way. Can't cast a vote for this one, I'm afraid. You know what? I'm going to vote for Leisa Peterson just because I just have a gut feeling. I haven't read any of these books. I got a gut feeling that one is easily, hands down, the best one. So that one gets my vote.
Well, I'm actually gonna. It's funny because I'm not gonna do this because Lisa's on here. I'm gonna do it because of the fact that my vote is based on where I think people should begin, and I think that the idea of being mindful and the mindfulness in that book and some of the exercises Lisa has in that book are such a great place for people to start. Like we talked about where you should start with your money. I think that Lisa's is my vote for who should win. The person I think will win, and I'm not unhappy with this either. I think it's a clever book. I think it's incredibly accessible book is Bola's book, Clever Girl Finance. That is who I think. So Lisa, I think you're a close second for me. Your book is the one people should start with.
Thank you.
So Lisa, how about you? If you don't win, who do you think?
I'm curious now to get Clever Girl, but I'd have to say Money for the Rest of Us. Yeah. And keep in mind, I am a more discerning, long-time investor. Like that book really got me excited. I was, when you're sending notes to the author as you're reading it, like, oh, this is so cool. That was me reading his book.
His book blew me away as well. It just, the way that he writes and talks, David Stein just fascinates me. Jess?
I'm going to go the Clever Girl Finance.
There it is. Very interesting. This is going to be a really interesting category. It's, I don't think you go wrong with any of these 5. Pick up all 5 of them, guys. If you're listening, buy all 5 of these books. All right. It's time for us to dive into the best new categories. We're going to start with best new personal finance podcast. Since people are listening to this on a podcast, we're going to be podcast first here. And I think we'll also do best personal finance podcast last. Not best new, excuse me. We'll do best best podcast of the year last. But the 5 here are Crazy Money, Find Your Freedom, This Is Awkward, Winning to Wealth, and Yo Quiero Dinero. And I hope I pronounced that somewhere near correctly. Let's start with Pete. Pete, what sticks out to you of these 5 fantastic podcasts?
I like Winning to Wealth. Michael, great story over there. Really fun to listen to as well. I'm surprised it's on the new list. I could have sworn that had been around long enough, but apparently not. I was mistaken. I love that podcast. Of course, we give a shout out to Chris already for Popcorn Finance, but he and Allison are also just really good in audio format as well. This is Awkward. It's not like a daily or a weekly show. They don't produce it often, but that is always like just really fun and helpful to listen to as well. In terms of which one's going to win, I don't know. If I had to choose, I would say This Is Awkward. And quite frankly, I feel like they're all good podcasts. I feel like they're all underdogs in some way, but I think This Is Awkward might actually end up taking it home.
Yeah, the thing, by the way, about any of these podcasts, Pete, they can be around for 2 years. So a lot of people don't think about these as older podcasts or as new podcasts. So Winning to Wealth and Michael have been around for a while, but still it makes a new list. Jess, what do you think?
Yeah. So to be totally honest, I'm not a huge podcast listener.
What are you doing?
What? I don't know. What am I doing with
I'm so sorry you can't stay. I'm so sorry you can't stay.
Okay, see you later. No. So the only one on here that I have actually listened to is Find Your Freedom. And Becky does a fantastic job. This podcast is specifically focused on like women in their 20s, so young millennials and Gen Z, and focused on how women can like make choices to find their own freedom. And so I've listened to this one. Becky's a friend of mine. I've been on it a couple times. So I think I am a little bit biased. But I do really, really enjoy that one. And I follow and know of Winning to Wealth and Yo Quiero Dinero, but I haven't actually listened to those, but I feel like I need to do that now. And go listen to like all of the podcasts now so that I'm allowed back on the show.
Leisa, how about you?
I'm pretty interested in Winning to Wealth. I'm always creating podcasts. I don't listen to them all that often, sadly, but now I'm looking at their list of all their shows and I'm an instant fan. So Winning to Wealth is just the topics like, near and dear to my heart is this, how saving money can be a form of self-care and all kinds of good stuff here. So that's my vote.
It's so funny. The one we haven't talked about yet, Crazy Money, is my favorite on this list. Paul Ollinger, I think, is a pretty damn funny comedian who's the host, and he has really interesting guests. And my favorite Paul Ollinger joke, by the way, he says, Pete, you know what's fun to do when you pay your bills on time?
No.
Answer the damn phone. He's like, I get to answer the phone whenever I want. So with financial humor like that, how can I go against Paul Ollinger? But so Crazy Money is my vote. So we got Lisa's vote. We got my vote. Actually, Jess, I think we got your vote. I think it's going to be Find Your Freedom. And then Pete, yours is This Is Awkward.
Yep, I think they're taking it home.
All right. That's once again no consensus, which makes it exciting, that category. All right, team, let's turn our attention to the best new personal finance video channel. And we've got 5 rock stars here. Financial Demics on YouTube, Make Real Sense on TikTok, The Broken Wallet on YouTube, The Layman Investor on TikTok, and Wander Onwards on YouTube. Jess, let's pick on you first, I guess. Which one of these kind of stands out to you?
I always get picked on first. So 2 of them actually stand out to me. One, I really like Wander Onwards. So I took some time to go and look at her videos, and they're incredibly high quality. And for people who have a wanderlust and enjoy the travel lifestyle, she's definitely one to follow. The other one that stood out to me is The Broken Wallet. And the reason why was she has so much incredible content on her YouTube channel. And like it's so high quality, right? In comparison to so many YouTube videos that I've seen. And there's, just every topic imaginable related to finances. So for me, The Broken Wallet gets my vote.
Well, we don't got to do that yet. Don't spoil it yet.
Oh no.
Let's see if we can, let's see if maybe if Leisa can change your mind. Leisa, what do you think?
Okay.
I literally feel like she just said everything I was going to say. So yeah, I know. Gosh. But yeah, Wander Onwards. I can't believe that she's new because there's so much there. And I think folks following it who want to travel, especially right now, because it looks like she's lived abroad for many years and she's really figured it out. And she's sharing all kinds of cool things about getting jobs in other countries and all kinds of cool stuff. So I love that. And Broken Wallet would be the second one that I was pretty intrigued by. I just can't believe how much content's being created in such a short amount of time for a brand new site.
I know. And
right, I'm going to weigh in here.
All right, Pete.
Oh, sorry. I got excited. You guys are just wrong. You guys are just flat wrong. Okay. I couldn't disagree more. No, I'm totally joking. Those are absolutely amazing content creators. However, no one's mentioned Financial Demics yet. And again, I'm going to spoil it right up front and say that she gets my vote. I think these are the highest quality videos that I've seen looking through this entire bunch. And I'm just going to give it to her. It's somehow like really well done and produced, but also like really laid back. Audio quality is there. The video quality is there. She's great at communicating her topics. Financial Demics, I think, should take it home. But let me give another shout out to these TikTok creators. I consider myself fairly adept at producing video content. I could never make what these people are making on this platform, not just because I'm an old dude, but they're funny. They're somehow making these financial topics just fun to watch in like bite-sized clips. It's the oddest thing. I wouldn't have thought it possible at all, but the layman investor, Make Real Sense, we've already mentioned, they're doing a really great job at somehow teaching us things and being like kind of fun and quirky, so they'll reach this new generation of people. I find that very impressive.
Yeah, the layman investor, I found myself mesmerized watching his videos. And frankly, like you, Pete, I don't know that I know why. Like I have no idea why. They're just funny. And I watch one, I'm like, okay, let's watch another one. And maybe that's how he has 176,000 people following him. And some of these new people, in fact, when we talk about a lot of people, it's, I think, hard to build a tribe on YouTube. And the broken wallet for somebody who is new is up at 25,500 people. That is incredible, which makes me wonder, Jess and Leisa, Wander Onward stuff is really, really good, but a lot of the videos only have 100 to 150 views, and she doesn't have a lot of subscribers yet, which really surprises me because I feel like I'm watching the Travel Channel.
Exactly. I know that's what went through my head, was maybe she's just started up and she's really good at what she does, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And on that note, by the way, I'm also surprised to not see Rich and Regular here with their brand new video channel. It seems like we would have seen them in this list, but we don't have them. We have these five. So I'm going to make Jess go last to see if either Leisa, you or Pete changed her mind. Leisa, who's your winner here?
I'm going to say Financial Demics. So he's sweating. It's great. It's awesome. So yes, that got my vote. And same thing here though. She has 400 subscribers. What's going on? So
yeah, all the financial nerds listening to this, you want to subscribe to all five of these, but definitely. Pete, is that your vote?
Financial Demics does get my vote.
Okay. Jess, did they change your mind?
They did not. The broken wallet still gets my vote.
Yeah, and you know what's funny for me? It's actually between the broken wallet and Wander Onwards. So just because you pick the broken wallet, I'm going to pick Wander Onwards, just so that we have three different ones. So the YouTubers, the three YouTubers get the votes over the TikToks. That's also interesting. I don't know what that says about us, but.
We're all
maybe that is it. I can't wait to see how that category works out. Let's move on to Best New Personal Finance Blog, presented by Personal Finance Blogs. The finalists here: Brave Saver, Cash for Tacos, Fire with a Family, Literally Broke, Mama Bear Finance, Trip of a Lifestyle, and We Want Guac. Between tacos and guac, like I said to Harlan and Miranda, I think I'm hungry. Pete, let's start with you. What catches your eye?
Well, I'm kind of with you guys. Actually, it's actually more of what catches my stomach. I can't help but see Cash for Tacos, We Want Guac. And again, this is my digital marketing, branding nerdiness through. But I'm like, what is that? I got to go look at that. Now, I actually have followed Melody from Cash for Tacos for quite a while, actually, since she kind of started. I've always just really enjoyed and resonated with her content. And that's just from a personal follower standpoint. So whatever I say here is going to be a little bit biased. I love Cash for Tacos, not just the name, but actually just as a creator, I've always enjoyed her stuff. Another one, let's just talk about We Want Guac for a second. You land on that website and the first thing you see is money and guacamole, which is exactly what you'd expect to see. So I just love creators who are willing to step up and be a little bit different, a little bit quirky, a little bit fun, just kind of like we were talking about with the TikTok creators as well, to reach people in a new way and still be hitting them with great financial topics, great financial content. And I think We Want Guac definitely does that. And let's just be honest, it makes you hungry. It's a great name.
Leisa, We Want Guac make you hungry?
I was very fascinated by Cash for Tacos. I had not heard of it before, so all of these are very interesting to me. I'm looking at Literally Broke. I think that it's very interesting site with lots of personal woman focused topics. So I'm curious to go even deeper, but that one's very interesting to me right now.
How about you, Jess?
Since I'm a blogger, I know and love like all of these people. So it's so hard to choose between them. And I actually did, right before the Plutus Award nominations closed, I did a Plutus takeover for Best New Personal Finance Blog. And I think I mentioned and said, I think all of these people are going to be nominated for like 6 of 7 people on this list. So I'm excited to see who made the list this year. A few of them that stick out to me. I love Trip of a Lifestyle. I think they have a really cool story. They're so young. And in some ways, they sort of started out their careers in the really like fast paced, wanting to retire early kind of lifestyle. And then have really figured out how to make semi-retirement and like full-time travel and full-time freelancing kind of, or not full-time, but right, that's what they do. They don't do it in full-time hours, but to figure out how to make that work for them. So I really enjoy their work. And then I love Brave Saver too. She writes just so incredibly thoughtfully and really includes so much about money mindset. And so I think she's incredibly relatable. However, I will say Cash for Tacos is one of my favorite new personal finance blogs. I know it's been mentioned a couple times here already, but Melody is fantastic. I remember one of her early posts was like, decide what you value using the taco method. And it was like this acronym of taco. And I just remember being like, this is so cool. So I won't tell you who my vote is yet, because Joe, you still need to talk, but I think I'm giving it away.
I just want to point out that not only that, and not only Cash for Tacos, but a bunch of these blogs are kind of incorporating little fun branding things like that. You go to cashfortacos.com, her homepage, she has like an email opt-in that has tacos on it. And she has like a start here page that it's like a taco monopoly board piece or something, just like little fun things that make it that much more sticky and interesting. I think that's just incredible smart, and it's just good content.
Well, talking about branding, Pete, we haven't talked about Mama Bear Finance yet. There's no better name.
I totally agree. And again, going with like the little funky branding things, she has like a little nice bear logo right there on her site. It's also laid out really well. And she actually covers a lot more than just the basics of personal finance. She also talks a little bit about entrepreneurship. She has a lot of newer mom focused up, obviously, with the name like Mama Bear. And I think that's cool. She's very diversified there. I don't know if she's going to get my vote. I think it's a beautiful website. I think her content is absolutely A+, which is why she's on this list. And it's hard choosing from these particular blogs. It would be so much easier if like a couple of them were just like obviously bad. Like, nope, that's just terrible. But all these are so good, both from a content perspective and their topic. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to choose. It really is.
Jess, did we talk about Fire with the Family?
We didn't talk about Fire with the Family yet, but I love their site, and I do feel like the vast majority of people, at least who are new, who are writing in the Fire space, often seem like they're single or don't have kids. So maybe they're dinks like us, dual income, no kids. And so I think that their perspective of bringing like, you can do this with a family of 4 is a really neat one, and one that's absolutely needed in the space.
Okay, but let's go with your vote. I'm going to guess, I'm going to put my Nostradamus hat on. I think Cash for Tacos might be your pick.
Cash for Tacos is 100% my pick.
Lisa?
Same.
Same for Pete, all right. Lisa, how about you?
Cash for Tacos.
How about that? And I love Cash for Tacos as well, but just to mix it up, Jess, I'm with you, what you said about Brave Saver. I really like the way that she writes, and I'm going to pick Brave Saver as the outside favorite. So how about that? All right, those are the best new categories. Let's move into the big three, guys. These are the best of, and because this is a podcast, we're going to go there last. Let's stay with blogs. Why don't we? So, Personal Finance Blog of the Year, presented by Capital Group. There are 10 of them in this category that are recognized. A Purple Life, Bitches Get Riches, Her First 100K, His and Her Money, I Like to Dabble, Physician on Fire, The College Investor, Tread Lightly, Retire Early, Wallet Hacks, and Women Who Money. So, Leisa, I'm going to give you the unenviable task of telling us what you think to try to pick one from those.
Oh, there's two that are really jumping out at me, A Purple Life and Women Who Money. So Purple Life, it was one of those experiences where the minute you arrive, you're like, I need to spend time here. And that was pretty much the feeling I had. So everything just drew me in. And when you go through all 10 of these and you spend some time on them, what I noticed is some immediately draw you in and you're like, oh, what's behind this corner and what's here and what's there? And I felt like there was a very strategic plan with A Purple Life that I really embraced. Same thing with Women Who Money, where you come in and they are trying to help you figure out where should you go? Where do you fit? What articles are going to be most helpful to you based on where you're at in your financial journey? And I really appreciated that.
Pete, how about you?
This is incredibly hard, not the least of which because all these people are absolutely amazing. I found myself going over this list and trying to disqualify some that were actually more of podcasts. For example, His and Her Money, one of my favorite brands, period. I love Tie and Tell. They're so good. Like, they're so incredible. They also have like a really great podcast. I don't know if I could give the blog of the year. They're so good though. I'm with you on A Purple Life. First and foremost, spoiler alert, I might be choosing her to actually take this home. I actually haven't decided yet. I'm going to decide right here on air. Also, BGR. You got to love them. I can't remember if they won Blog of the Year last year. I know they took home some awards. I don't think it was this one, though. I could be mistaken about that. Somebody fact check me. Quite frankly, I might have to vote for them as well. Of course, there is Robert from The College Investor, Physician on Fire, Angela, Tread Lightly, Retire Early. Like, it's just so hard because all of these are so incredibly good. But again, I am somewhat drawn to A Purple Life and Bitches Get Riches for this one.
Jess, let's talk about some of the other names on this list. We haven't talked, Her First 100K we haven't talked about.
Her First 100K is definitely on my top three. If I think about who are my top three on this list, I think that Tori just does such a fantastic job of connecting with her specific audience, right? Like, she has a specific niche of young women who want to grow in their careers and who want to increase their income, right? And get to their first 100K, right? It's such a compelling message. And I think she does such a fantastic job with it. The second one that stands out to me actually is Bitches Get Riches. They did not win last year, Blog of the Year. Rich and Regular won Blog of the Year last year. But their content is so incredibly, I think, entertaining and also brings in so much social consciousness as well, and really like targets their specific demographic of people that they want to reach. And then the last one that's really jumping out to me that I love is Angela from Tread Lightly, Retire Early. I think that she has incredible content on her blog. I think sometimes it can be, she writes a lot about women in personal finance and sort of being eco-frugal, and, has her like Friday Frugal 5, which is really fun to read. And I feel like I get to be part of her life, which is why I like her blog. I'm not sure I would vote for her as Blog of the Year, but I do really love that one. And then the one more that I'll talk about is I Like to Dabble. I actually have found that blog to be really fascinating, and that's blog is specifically about side hustling. And that's a really fun blog and that I've gotten into as I have learned more about like that side hustling doesn't just have to be like to make a little bit of money on the side, that there's really like such a thing as passion hustle, right? And you can do something that you're really passionate about. And so that's one thing that I gathered from that blog that I love about it and has changed my perspective.
Jess, somebody though, that has a very rabid following, just a big following, and people that absolutely love his work is Physician on Fire. You didn't mention that one.
I didn't. What's so interesting to me is for me personally, I feel like I tend to, and I think I've heard this from a lot of folks, is that they really love reading blogs of people who are on the journey to fire. And then after someone reaches fire, they people get like not relatable anymore or something like that. Right. Which I think that Physician on Fire is still a really fantastic blog and has a really great following. But that's one thing that I hear and that I find, like, I tend to be much more interested in hearing from people on the journey.
And Leisa and Pete, you guys have been in this community for a long time. The last one we haven't talked about is wallet hacks. And I think it's always dangerous to bet against Jim weighing on anything. Like Jim, it feels like everything he touches is fantastic.
Honestly, okay, aside from that, it's also just one of the nicest people I think I've ever met. So humble and down to earth and smart. You don't really realize that for people who are humble and down to earth, but there's a head on those shoulders. I promise you that. And he also does a lot of other things just besides wallet hacks in this community, which I definitely think he should be recognized for. I mean, I'm going to take the lame way out and just say, like, all these people are so good. It's so hard to pick them. Jim's definitely one of those, though.
Well, he's already won, for people that don't know, he's already won Lifetime Achievement Award. I remember being on the elevator with him in New Orleans and commenting that I can't believe somebody younger than me is winning a Lifetime Achievement Award. That makes you feel old, by the way. Immediately. Of course, Paula Pant won it too, and she's, I think, more than 15 years younger than me. Oh, man. Let's get off the old guy stuff. Leisa, we'll have you go first. Spotlight's on you. Who takes home the prize?
I am going to have to say A Purple Life.
Awesome. Jess?
So hard. I am going to have to say Bitches Get Riches, but A Purple Life follows closely second for me.
Pete?
Okay, so this is rough. So I was going to weigh in on what you guys were going to say, because it was kind of a toss-up between A Purple Life and Bitches Get Riches for me personally. Honestly, I'm going with Purple Life. I'm staking my claim right now. Purple Life's taking it home.
I would love to see Robert in The College Investor when he's done such a good job with The College Investor for such a long time. I think he's been up for this award many, many times in a row, which itself is quite an achievement. But I've gone on record over and over saying Bitches Get Riches is my favorite blog, and they haven't won yet. So I gotta say that the bitches take this one home. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Sounds like Purple Life and Bitches Get Riches this year are the favorites. All right. If I do say so myself, the best category in the whole thing is Personal Finance Podcast of the Year, presented by Capital Group. I may be slightly biased being a podcaster and all, but the finalist here.
Are we going to do video before podcast?
Oh, you're right. See, I'm so excited about doing podcast. I almost jumped the gun. Let's do that, Jess. Let's go to Personal Finance Video Channel of the Year, also presented by Capital Group. Here we go. Clever Girl Finance, Frugal Chic Life, Graham Stephen, Hey Berna, Investing Latina, Let's Talk Money, Our Rich Journey, The Broken Wallet, The Financial Diet, and 2 Cents. So, Jess, since you reminded me that we haven't done this one, let's start with you. What sticks out?
Sure. So there's a number of them that stick out to me. One thing that I want to comment on is I think it's pretty amazing that The Broken Wallet was on Best New Video Channel and Video Channel of the Year. So congratulations on making that to both of those. The two favorites that I have here are Our Rich Journey. I love how relatable they are and how they've been just able to like walk us through really their whole life journey over the last several years. That's been incredible to see them and them reaching financial independence, retiring early, moving to Portugal, right? All of those things have been really neat. The other one that's sticking out to me is Hey Berna. I love Hey Berna. Whenever I see one of her videos, I just like get excited and I feel inspired by it. And, I think that Hey Berna might be an underdog on this one, but I love her content so much. So I want everybody, even if she doesn't win, to go and follow her work.
Leisa, do either of Jess's picks that she point out hold a candle to Joseph Hogan, Let's Talk Money, in that bow tie?
I like Hey Berna too, but I just have to say I love the financial diet. I don't watch many videos, and I got into watching a few of the financial diet videos a ways back, and I was so blown away at the amount of time and energy that goes into a lot of their content. I was completely mesmerized and an immediate fan. And so out of all of these, that's the one that has got my attention.
Pete, what about Joseph Hogan, his bow ties?
Okay, now we can finally talk about the bow ties. So this guy has been just showing up and showing up and showing up and hitting it hard for like so long now. He's just gotten his videos. You see those bow ties and you know exactly what that video is going to be. He has a very distinct personality, and he's just managed to crush his YouTube channel in a great way. I also want to point out 2 cents. And this is kind of like in the same realm of the financial diet, in my opinion. It's a much, much larger channel, and they kind of talk about personal finance, but it's also a little bit more broad, but they do great work. Those videos are absolutely fantastic. They're produced well. They're funny. Like, they're just great. They're worth checking out. 2 cents. And honestly, I'm going to go back to Our Rich Journey and Hey Berna again. I know we've already talked about them, but these are kind of my picks for this video category. Hey Berna, definitely one of the smallest followings, still several thousand people, by the way, but compared to these huge channels, I just can't get over how much personality she brings and how good she is at delivering this content. And then, you know what? I'm with you guys on Our Rich Journey as well. It's definitely more of a vlog style, not a blog, but a vlog style channel, but they're so relatable. And it's fun. And I watched their Portugal. I think they're moving or just moved. I watched something just a couple of days ago on them. And their channel's just so good right now. If I had to give it away, no, tell you what, I won't spoil my picks. We'll take it down from there.
I want to talk about some of the other people on here. I mean, Bola Succumbi and Clever Girl Finance. What a great brand. Do you follow Bola?
I do. Yeah. And I was actually just watching some of the videos this morning, and they are so inspiring. And I love that there's so many channels now that are specifically speaking to women and saying these are specific things, like based on what is going on in the world and what is going on in, the ways that women get paid, the ways that women are treated in terms of media and marketing and all of those things, that there needs to be specific content for women and different demographics of women. And so I love the way that Clever Girl Finance focuses their channel and really speaks really directly to, who they want their ideal audience to be. And so it's fantastic.
Two of these brands we've already talked about before, so I don't think we need to talk about a lot more. Investing Latina, of course, fantastic videos, and The Broken Wallet, one of our favorite picks for best new. But let's talk about Frugal Chic Life. Leisa, what do you think about that brand?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying what Nicole has put together. It looks like she's on a mission to achieve financial independence in 10 years. She's got 3 kids. It's a really interesting angle in that she's speaking to other busy professional women. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity here to help a very specific group of people. And frugal is her superpower.
Awesome. And Pete, how about Graham Stephan?
Yeah. So when you think of like YouTuber, right, you think of people like Graham Stephan. So this guy, it's not necessarily personal finance. I would make the argument. It's more money, right? Like he has, I think it's 2.5 million followers or something crazy like that. And he produces a lot of, how I bought a Tesla for like $78, revealing my actual net worth. Like some of his titles are a little clickbaity, but I will say as a follower of Graham, his content is actually pretty good. Like it looks a little corny. It looks like a stereotypical YouTuber when you look at his content and his titles and his thumbnails specifically, but it actually does really good. It's just a personality. And again, I think it's kind of odd that he's not just personal finance. I want to make that clear, but his content's super solid.
Like you said, he has 2.3 million subscribers. And guys, before we get to your picks, this is the first time where I think we've kind of run up against really two levels of creators here. I think we have one level, which is clearly indie creators doing stuff, like we do in Mom's Basement. But then you have 2 Cents is a PBS produced channel. The Financial Diet is also a big operation. And Graham Stephan, 2.3 million followers. I mean, are these really indie the way that we've thought about indie with the Plutus Awards?
That's a big difference in resources. I think it's cool that you do have folks, starting out and just building their community, and yet they're here and they're providing unique and interesting content. So I celebrate that. And how fun is that to be nominated when you're just building something really grassroots?
Right. And you're alongside the Financial Diet. Right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pete or Jess, you guys have any thoughts on that or no?
I tend to really identify with the stories that people share. And so I feel like I tend to gravitate toward those more indie channels and people who are, more sharing their individual story. 'Cause I feel like I care a lot more about who are they and what are they accomplishing, right? And so those things stick out to me more than some of these large channels. I want to hear about the stories of struggle and triumph, and those are the things that we're hearing from some of these smaller, some of these smaller but still quite large channels. Let's be honest, right? Maybe they're not 2.5 million, but 25,000 is a lot.
Yeah, agreed. It'll be interesting to see which way the committee goes, Pete.
Yeah, I'm with Jess on this. I like seeing, when you said that, the first name that came to my mind was Our Rich Journey, just because I feel like they do a really clear and transparent job of following them along, quite literally, their journey. But I will also say, I'm in the personal finance community, but I also come at this with a little bit different angle of appreciating the behind the scenes effort that these creators are doing to reach people. I just could nerd out about digital marketing and branding and their titles and thumbnails and featured images and all that stuff too. But I just think it's interesting to see these names. Let's just say Berna, because I love Hey Berna, might actually get my pick for this channel, competing with something like the Financial Diet. I enjoy watching these creators do a good job at finding different ways to connect with their audience. I just think it's so much fun to analyze and watch personally. And so I think it's actually really cool that we have big, small, of course those numbers are highly relative, small in our case is still several thousand followers, right. But I just think it's cool.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with you because you mentioned my pick. I've gone last all day. I'm going to go first here. Hey Berna's mine. Is Hey Berna yours?
I'm actually going to take a different approach because that was a toss up. I'm actually going to go with Our Rich Journey.
Awesome. Leisa?
I choose Hey Berna.
All right. And Jess, you got the last vote.
Oh, this is so hard. So I would like Hey Berna to win. I don't think she's going to. I think that she's awesome and might win next year, but I think she's still building. So I'm going to go with Our Rich Journey.
All right. Ooh. That's interesting. I can't wait to see who wins that, because, you know, the financial diets, the 2 cents, shut out on our picks. All right. Now, Jess, is it okay if I do the podcast of the year? Would it be fine?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and do this category. Personal Finance Podcast of the Year, presented by Capital Group. Man, do we have, as a guy who listens to podcasts, this is a action-packed lineup. Beyond the Dollar, Bigger Pockets Money, Brown Ambition, Earn and Invest Podcast, How to Money, Journey to Launch, Oh My Dollar, Paychecks and Balances, Popcorn Finance, and The Fair Sense. And I'll remind people again that I partly work behind the scenes and part owner of the Earn and Invest podcast. So you may hear some bias in my voice on that one, but let's Leisa start with you as a podcaster. Let's talk about a few of these brands. What do you think?
So I love Sarah's work with Beyond the Dollar because we synchronize nicely. She covers a lot of the inner journey and the struggles that people come up against in their relationship with money. And so I'm definitely loving her show. I've listened many times. The other one that sticks out is Journey to Launch. And although I haven't listened to a lot of episodes, Jamila's work comes up over and over again in every conversation. And so I feel like she's making a big impact with her podcast and with her work. And so I want to bring attention to her.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about the inner journey. I also think then, I don't know if you've heard of Oh My Dollar and Lillian's work, but she also dives in often to that inner journey. Have you listened to Oh My Dollar?
I haven't. So now I've got an additional one to check it out.
You're welcome, Leisa. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody, by the way, who dresses up like David Bowie while she's interviewing people in Lillian Karabek is a friend of mine. Jess, I know you're a big podcast listener. Joking.
You know, I have actually listened to most of these podcasts, so that is a good thing. I have some things to say. So Oh My Dollar, I actually was going to mention that. Like, she's so funny. And so I love that, and diving deep into just like really critical issues. But there's 4 on this list that are like popping out to me. One of them that I actually really enjoy is Brown Ambition. So Tiffany and Mandy. There's a lot of shows that are sort of interview shows these days. And you know, they're great, but I love just like the conversation. For Brown Ambition, it's like I get to like listen in to these like 2 awesome powerhouse women just like having a conversation with each other. And so I love that podcast.
Well, I feel like on that note, I mean, Brown Ambition, when you talk about 2 powerhouse women talking, we could say the same thing about The Fair Sense.
Agreed. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. We could definitely say that about The Fair Sense, and that one was also on my list. So Tanya and Kara do such a fantastic job, and really bringing in ideas of like feminism and talking about equal pay and a lot of the sort of financial feminism. And I love their podcast. The 2 other ones that are on my list, one, Earn and Invest, so I'm going to call them out here. I think Doc G does an incredible job, and that's also an interesting structure of a podcast. Periodically, he'll have guests where he does just an interview, but typically it's those panel conversations, and that I find to be really interesting that can bring a lot of perspectives. And then my favorite, I think, if someone doesn't talk me out of it, is Journey to Launch. I love Jamila. I love her approach. The Journey to Launch was actually one of the first podcasts that I started listening to. And so being able to see her journey in the way that she, went from sort of hard charging financial independence to sort of learning about ways that she could design her life now, and sort of transitioning into entrepreneurship and sharing her struggles and just being so honest with us about all of that, I think is just incredible. And I love that podcast. So, but we'll see if that one gets my vote at the end of it.
All right. I like the foreshadowing. Jess is getting good at this. That's great. Pete, I wanted to come to you last on purpose because not only do you have a podcast, but you also talk about how to podcast. So when you look at these, which of the brands really stick out to you?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Proverbially, of course, I'm a podcasting fanatic. I've listened to every single one of these, some of which regularly, some of which just checked in and out. And so we haven't talked a whole lot about Chris Browning yet, but I just need that guy to win. I need Popcorn Finance to win Personal Finance Podcast of the Year. It's just such a great show. He's so good. He's so good. I found him very early on when he first started his podcast, and I was like, who is this person? Like, just killing it out there. Podcast, like, so good. I love that his show is sometimes like 3 minutes long. It's sometimes like 15 to 20 minutes long. He'll bring on like really great guests to talk about investing or budgeting or mindset or all this other stuff. Really, he throws a lot together in this one show, and I just love it. I also want to give a shout out to Matt and Joel over at How to Money. The first time I met Joel, he handed me a beer. So I'm going to just go ahead and vote for that right now. He's actually at a conference. He's like, oh, here you go. And he also gave me a koozie, I believe, with How to Money, if I remember correctly. They have a great show as well. I love them. Super fun to listen to. Bigger Pockets Money. We haven't thrown this out there yet. Bigger Pockets, of course, is a much larger brand. I would argue primarily focusing on real estate, but I loved to see them branching out. They have a real estate podcast, which is actually quite separate. I actually thought it was really cool for them to make a side branch of their business, come in and talk about personal finance, have a bunch of these same bloggers and podcasters and content creators as guests on the show. I actually think they do a really good job. I think it's a great podcast.
Well, and talk about, Jess earlier was talking about powerhouses and smart people. I mean, Scott Trench and Mindy, both people that walk the talk of what they do. A couple people really that can ask some hard-hitting questions. I felt like when I was a guest on their show, I felt like Scott Trench was just grilling me. I was sweating. By the way, I felt that when I was on Paychecks and Balances as well. Rich Jones asks phenomenal questions. That guy asks fantastic questions.
Rich is absolutely fantastic. I've had the distinct pleasure of going on that podcast as well, and they're just pros, right? They have an extremely wide variety. I like that Rich himself is actually focused a lot on career stuff as well, for me personally, and I think he's taking his audience's direction. That's kind of like the sub niche of personal finance that he's spoke a lot about. I actually really love that. I think all of these people are very strong. And by the way, just a shout out to Sarah Lee Kane. She's so good. Beyond the Dollar and everything else she's involved with. She actually has some other projects alongside that. She is a phenomenal podcaster. Just want to throw that out there.
Okay, Leisa, we're going to start with the spotlight on you, mostly because I want to build up to Jess's picks, and she foreshadowed it so nicely. We'll have Jess go last. Leisa, who do you want to win? Who do you think's going to win?
Yeah, so I want Sarah to win with Beyond the Dollar, and I also love the idea of Journey to Launch winning, and I'm pretty sure that she's going to win. Jamila's going to win.
Awesome. Pete?
Yeah, my top three are Sarah, Beyond the Dollar, Journey to Launch. I'm with you. I think she might pull through and actually take home the trophy. However, who I want to win is Popcorn Finance.
Awesome. And I think, so we can have the drum roll for Jess, I'm going to go with Bigger Pockets Money with Scott and Mindy. I think the show is very well produced. I think the questions they ask are great. I like the bad dad jokes. Maybe Scott Trench and I have that in common. Maybe that's why my vote is for Bigger Pockets Money. They make me laugh, which to me is very important. All right, Jess, the world is waiting. Who's your pick?
I know. I'm trying to figure out who my vote goes for. So I want Journey to Launch to win. And I also want to say I think that she'll win. I'm not sure she's going to win, though. But I want her to win. I think either Bigger Pockets or Popcorn Finance will take the trophy. But I want Jamila to win.
All right. Well, we will see in a few weeks who wins. Guys, thanks a ton for hanging out with us and doing this. This has been so fun. And I love your points of view, but I also really love what you guys do. And I want to talk a little bit about what you guys have coming up. So Leisa, thanks a million. Tell me what projects are you working on right now? What can people expect from you?
So I recently started a new podcast around themes that are in my book, so Mindful Millionaire. And my big project for the coming future is around business coaching. And so I decided to focus my attention, especially with COVID. I noticed a lot of businesses coming on digitally really struggling because there's so much to learn. It's like drinking from the fire hose. And so I wanted to simplify that, and super excited about helping businesses get online and figure out how to have a thriving business.
Awesome. And by the way, we're going to link to all of these in our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Jess, what are the Fioneers up to these days?
Yeah, so we are focused, one, on writing our awesome weekly blog posts that hopefully everyone reads, and continuing to put out slow-fi interviews. And so those are interviews with people who are utilizing their financial freedom that they're gaining along the way to FI to like build awesome lives today. So that's a big focus that we have right now. And then finally, I actually also during COVID started a coaching business to help people figure out how to design a life that they love. On the path to financial independence. I think a lot of people sort of push through things that they don't enjoy, thinking that it will get better. Everything will get better when they sort of get to that magical number. And I think we've seen over and over again that that isn't true. And so I love to help people figure out what that thing is.
Boy, you talk about great. We talked about a lot of great brands today, but all three of you guys have fantastic work and just very intentional work and just incredibly good stuff. You guys are so creative. Mr. Creativity himself, Pete McPherson, what do you got in the hopper, big guy?
Yep, I just continue to pump out content over here in Do You Even Blog land. So I would, my CTA, my call to action, for those of us who nerd out about digital marketing stuff, I'm just pointing people to my homepage, doyouevenblog.com. I'm producing a lot of YouTube content at the moment. That's actually kind of what I enjoy doing most, spoiler alert, as well as gearing up for season 2 of my own podcast, where I interview all sorts of creators, bloggers, entrepreneurs, online business folk. I'm actually on break right now, but that's going to come out. I'm not sure when this is going live, but this fall, September, October. And yeah, just creating content and tools and whatever I can to help people grow their online platforms and reach more people and then build a business out of it.
And once again, we will link to everybody, to Pete, Jess, Leisa's stuff on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Guys, this has been long enough. Thanks again for hanging out. Let's go stack some Benjamins, everybody. Bye-bye.